we got the trailer jacked up, got the wheel off. Next step will be taking this cap off here. Just use a flathead screwdriver, work your way around. Like so. Good sign that there's some actual grease in it. I haven't done this trailer yet before. We'll need a pair of pliers for the cotter pin, probably some needle nose and some channel locks for the nut, and some paper towels.
There we go, cotter pin.
Retaining nut. I got the outer bearing. It looks like the washer came with it. So there's a washer, outer bearing. So far everything's in really good shape. And there's the inner bearing and the seal. Just inspecting things while I have it off. Looks like sooner than later I'm going to be putting brakes on the trailer. Maybe next season. So I'm just going to clean everything up, repack the bearings, and put it all back together. So for those of you that don't know how to pack a bearing, I'll give you a rundown of how to do one of them. This is one of the outer bearings. So they're not sealed. What you want to do is force grease in the back side of it here until it starts coming out the front side. And I'll go to the point where it pushes all the old grease out. These are in really good shape. Not notchy at all, real smooth. The races weren't all beat up. So what I do here, bunch of wheel bearing grease, palm of your hand, and then you simply just push into the back side here the new grease. I like to wear gloves, kind of just keeps the mess on the glove rather than getting everywhere. You just work it in there. There you go, and you can kind of see now how it's starting to push the grease out through the top here. You just keep going all the way around until all the old grease has been pushed out and you've got nice clean grease. Takes some time, but well worth the results. What I'm doing here is just pulling the extra new grease that's gets caught in the middle here out, putting it back in my palm so I don't waste any. Some people say that you have to slap it into your hand, like force it in. That's not true. Just press it. That's all it takes. There we go. I'll clean it up a little bit, but there's some grease on the outside, and there's one freshly packed wheel bearing. 3 more to go. So I've got the spindle all cleaned up. I'm just gonna stick some new grease on it. You don't need a ton. Leftovers from packing the bearing work well enough. Make sure it's all over all the places. I just use the extra that's on my glove, as you can see here. Put a little bit on the races on the inside. The wheel cylinder as well. Like so. Whoever did this before really liked their grease. You got all this extra. You don't need to fill the cavity with grease. I'm just trying to clean it up a little bit. Okay. Now I've got, I didn't show it all, but pulled the inner bearing out as well, repacked it all back together, and then it's just a matter of putting assembly back on the spindle. Then you've got your outer bearing. This is the one that I showed you how to pack. Make sure that gets in nice and seated. Your washer, my trailer's got a little notch there, so it only goes one way on the spindle. And then your castle nut. What I do is turn it as I hand tighten. You want it to spin nice and freely, and then typically you'll go a little bit more, but you want to keep that nice free spinning. And then install a new cotter pin. I'll go grab one. Alright, back with the new cotter pin. Always trying to avoid reusing the old ones. Once they're bent, the metal gets fatigued and fragile, so like I was saying, a little tighter than hand tight to seat the bearing. Still spins nicely. If they're too tight, you will just wear out the back bearing quicker than needs to. There you go. Backed it off a little bit, spins a little nicer. You'll have to forgive the wind. It's picked up here. And then it's just a matter of finding a spot where you can get the cotter pin back through the hole. Would you look at that? It basically lines up here. We'll gently tap on our cap, and that's a wrap. You guys still there? Like so. Reinstall the wheel, and one side's done. So I hope some of you found this interesting or helpful. Repack bearings on your own trailer. Probably every few years I just replace them.